Michael Hinkson, a blind man, had a unique bond with his guide dog, Roselle, a yellow Labrador retriever. Their relationship wasn't just that of a handler and a guide, it was rooted in mutual trust, understanding, and companionship. Michael, who had been blind since birth, had worked with guide dogs for many years, but Roselle was something special. She had been his constant companion for several years before the events of September 11, 2001. Together, they navigated the streets, trains, and buildings of New York, their partnership allowing Michael to live an independent life. Roselle was always by his side, helping him through challenges, and in return, Michael provided the love and care that Roselle needed. The bond they shared went beyond just the physical act of guiding. It was a deep emotional connection based on trust, respect, and affection. The relationship between Michael Hinkson and his guide dog Roselle was built on a foundation of trust that went beyond the ordinary connection between a human and their pet. It was a bond forged through years of shared experiences, mutual respect, and deep reliance on one another. For Michael, who had been blind since birth, having a guide dog like Roselle was not just about navigation, it was about companionship, independence, and an emotional connection that allowed him to lead a life filled with possibility. Michael and Roselle first met in 1999, when Michael was paired with her through Guide Dogs for the Blind, a nonprofit organization that trains service dogs. At the time, Michael was already a seasoned guide dog user, having worked with other dogs over the years. But Roselle was different. From the moment they met, Michael knew that she was special. She had a calm demeanor, a sharp intelligence, and a natural ability to understand his needs. Michael could sense that Roselle wasn't just doing her job. She was genuinely invested in his well-being. Roselle's training had taught her to respond to Michael's commands with precision, guiding him safely through busy streets, busy airports, and crowded spaces. But it was the unspoken connection that set Roselle apart from any other dog Michael had worked with. She had an innate ability to sense Michael's emotions, adjusting her pace or posture when she felt he was anxious or tired. When Michael faced difficulties or challenges, Roselle's calm presence became his anchor. Their communication was almost instinctive. While Michael relied on her for physical guidance, he also depended on her emotional steadiness. This bond of trust was tested and deepened over the years, particularly as they navigated the bustling streets of New York City. New York can be overwhelming for anyone, let alone someone who is blind. But with Roselle at his side, Michael never felt alone or vulnerable. Whether they were crossing a busy intersection, navigating through a crowded subway station, or moving through the complex maze of the World Trade Center, Michael always trusted Roselle's judgment. She had an uncanny ability to detect potential dangers before they became apparent, steering him around obstacles or halting him when necessary. Over time, their communication grew so seamless that Michael didn't have to give her specific commands for every move. He simply trusted her instincts, knowing that she would guide him as needed. Beyond the practical aspects of guiding, the bond between Michael and Roselle was also emotionally profound. Roselle was not just Michael's guide dog, she was his constant companion, sharing in his joys, struggles, and every aspect of his life. Michael often spoke of the silent comfort that Roselle provided in moments when words weren't enough. When he faced personal challenges or periods of uncertainty, Roselle's presence was a steadying force. She was always there, offering her companionship without judgment, her calmness offering Michael a sense of security. In a world that could sometimes feel isolating for someone with a disability, Roselle was a reminder that unconditional love and support could come in the most unexpected forms. Their relationship wasn't only about helping Michael navigate physical spaces, it was also about giving him the freedom to live his life to the fullest. Roselle allowed Michael to be independent, to go to work, travel, and engage in activities without needing constant assistance from others. Their bond gave Michael a sense of confidence and purpose. He was able to live his life on his own terms, thanks to Roselle's dedication to her role. Roselle, for her part, trusted Michael just as deeply. As a service dog, her life was centered around his needs, and over time, she came to understand him on a level that few other animals could. She wasn't just reacting to his commands, she was responding to his moods, his needs, and his emotions. In moments of stress, Roselle would guide Michael with an even gentler touch, making sure that he was always safe, always cared for. And when they were together at home, away from the demands of work and public life, she would curl up next to him, providing comfort and companionship without words. They were, in essence, a team whose relationship went beyond just human and dog. They were friends, partners, and lifelines to each other. It was this special bond that would prove to be so essential when disaster struck on September 11th, 2001. When the World Trade Center was attacked, Michael's life was thrown into turmoil. But he knew that no matter how dangerous or chaotic the situation, Roselle would be there by his side, guiding him through the unknown with the same trust, courage, and loyalty that defined their years together. Their bond, formed over time and strengthened by the trials they had faced, would be the key to their survival that fateful day. In the days, months, and years that followed, Michael would look back on their journey with immense gratitude and admiration for the trust that defined their relationship. The deep connection between him and Roselle was a testament to the power of animals to change lives, offering not just practical help, but emotional support that transforms the human experience. Their story would become a symbol of the extraordinary bond between dogs and humans, a bond based on trust, love, and a shared journey. September 11th, 2001 began like any ordinary workday for Michael Hingson and his guide dog Roselle. Michael, who was blind, was in his office at the World Trade Center's North Tower, where he worked as a regional sales manager for a tech company. He and Roselle had settled into their usual routine that morning. Michael had arrived early, preparing for the workday ahead. He trusted Roselle to help him navigate the busy streets of New York City and the maze of the Trade Center, a place they had visited regularly. They had developed a routine over the years, and each day felt familiar and predictable. But everything changed at 8:46 a.m. As Michael sat at his desk, engrossed in his work, the first plane, American Airlines Flight 11, crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. The impact was sudden and violent, sending a shockwave throughout the building. Michael described the moment as one of confusion and disorientation. The building shook violently, and for a moment, he couldn't comprehend what had just happened. Then, suddenly, he could remember. The deafening roar of the explosion echoed through the structure, and the lights flickered as the tower quivered under the shock of the crash. There was an immediate sense of chaos as alarms went off and people began to panic. Michael, calm and composed, relied on Roselle to help him navigate through the turmoil. As the building shook and smoke filled the air, it became clear that the situation was much worse than anyone had anticipated. The decision to evacuate was made, and with Roselle leading the way, Michael began his descent from the 78th floor. It was clear to Michael that something catastrophic had occurred, but despite the tremors and confusion, he did not panic. He trusted Roselle to remain calm, and he took a moment to assess the situation. The immediate response from the building was chaotic. Sirens blared and alarms went off, adding to the sense of urgency. People in the office started to rush toward the exits, many of them unaware of how serious the situation was. Michael, having experienced the unpredictability of life as a blind person, quickly shifted into problem-solving mode. He had been through emergencies before, including bomb threats and evacuations, but nothing like this. He immediately realized that the North Tower, where he worked, had been hit, and that the situation could quickly escalate. His first instinct was to evacuate, but he had no idea the magnitude of what was happening outside the building. What made the situation even more complicated was that, as a blind person, Michael could not see the extent of the damage or the full scope of the danger. For him, the world was defined by sound, touch, and the guidance of Roselle. He relied on his other senses, including his deep trust in Roselle, to understand the situation and move forward. He knew that Roselle would be able to lead him through the chaos and help him make the right decisions. Although people were rushing past him, some screaming and others seemingly unaware of the severity of the situation, Michael remained calm and began to prepare for the evacuation. He activated his phone and tried to reach his wife Karen, who was in a different part of the city, to let her know he was okay. But the phone lines were jammed, making it difficult to connect. The office building's public address system blared warnings, instructing people to remain inside and stay calm. However, Michael knew that remaining in the building was no longer a safe option. The power had flickered out, and the elevators were no longer functional. The stairwells, which were the only way to evacuate, were filling with people, many of whom were panicked and disoriented. Still, Michael trusted in the one constant in his life: Roselle. Roselle's actions that day were a testament to the extraordinary bond between a guide dog and her human companion. Her bravery and poise were nothing short of heroic, and her presence in Michael's life continues to be a powerful reminder of the profound impact animals can have in moments of crisis. The elevators were no longer functional, and people were rushing to get out of the building. Despite the chaos, Roselle calmly guided Michael down the 78 flights of stairs. Michael later recalled that the noise was deafening, with people screaming and running. But Roselle didn't falter. She remained poised, relying on her training and her innate sense of responsibility. As they descended, Michael described how Roselle would pause every now and then, sensing his needs, whether it was to give him a moment to catch his breath or to guide him around a potential obstacle. It was clear that Roselle's steady and unshakable demeanor in the face of danger helped Michael stay calm and focused as well. At one point, the building's structure was visibly weakening and the situation grew even more perilous, but Roselle's unwavering dedication never wavered. She was not just guiding Michael out of the building, she was in essence his lifeline, providing him with the comfort and reassurance he needed in that terrifying moment. The extraordinary bond between Michael Hingson and his guide dog Roselle deepened immeasurably after the events of September 11, 2001. Their remarkable survival story of trust, courage, and resilience wasn't just a one-time experience. It was a testament to years of partnership, and it shaped the way both Michael and Roselle would move forward together in life. In the aftermath of the World Trade Center attack, their relationship became a symbol of the profound, often life-changing connection between humans and their guide dogs. One built on mutual trust, unwavering loyalty, and a shared journey through hardship. When Michael and Roselle reached the safety of the streets after their harrowing descent from the North Tower, the sense of relief was immense. But in those first moments of survival, Michael couldn't help but reflect on just how much he owed to Roselle. She had not only guided him physically through the disaster, but emotionally as well. She had remained calm, focused, and steadfast, even as the world around them crumbled. The bond they shared was more than just a working relationship. It was a deep, unspoken partnership in which each one trusted the other completely, with their lives on the line. Following their escape from the tower, Michael and Roselle were taken to a nearby emergency shelter where they received medical attention, though they were both physically unharmed. As the world began to process the enormity of the tragedy, Michael took a moment to breathe and gather himself, but he also reflected on Roselle's extraordinary actions. She had kept him safe in ways he could never have imagined, and in that moment Michael was acutely aware of how fortunate he was to have her by his side. While many people were grieving the loss of loved ones and trying to make sense of the tragedy, Michael had Roselle, his constant companion, and the dog who had guided him out of danger. It wasn't long before Michael and Roselle's story began to capture the hearts of people across the world. As the details of the 9/11 attacks unfolded in the media, Michael began to share their incredible story, and the world responded with admiration. People were amazed by Roselle's calmness and bravery during the most chaotic of moments. The media began to recognize her as a true hero, and Michael often spoke about how Roselle's heroic actions transcended the typical expectations of a guide dog. In the years that followed, their story became a beacon of hope and inspiration for many. Michael was invited to speak at various public events, share his experience with Roselle on television programs, and participate in interviews. Their message was clear. The bond between a service dog and their human partner is one of unparalleled trust, and this connection can be life-saving in times of crisis. Michael's narrative was also deeply emotional, describing how Roselle's presence had allowed him to remain calm and focused when the world was falling apart. Through it all, Michael never failed to emphasize that Roselle was not just a dog, she was family, a partner in every sense of the word. In 2002, Michael and Roselle were awarded the prestigious Guiding Eyes for the Blind Award for their bravery and courage during the 9/11 disaster. Their recognition was not just a reflection of their survival, but also of the incredible work that service dogs do every day, silently and humbly, to improve the lives of those they serve. Roselle was officially celebrated as a hero, and her story was featured in numerous publications, including People magazine and the New York Times. The recognition was a testament to her exceptional bravery, but it was also a reminder of the dedication and tireless work that guide dogs do in supporting their human companions. In 2011, a decade after 9/11, Roselle passed away at the age of 13. The loss was profound for Michael, as she had been by his side for over a decade, providing not just guidance but emotional support, comfort, and companionship. Her death marked the end of an era, but Michael's love and appreciation for her never wavered. He continued to speak publicly about their bond, sharing the lessons of trust, love, and loyalty that he had learned from Roselle. Her legacy lived on in the many people whose lives had been touched by her bravery and unwavering commitment. In honor of Roselle's legacy, Michael wrote a book about their experience, Thunder Dog: The True Story of a Blind Man, His Guide Dog, and the Triumph of Trust at Ground Zero. The book told their story in intimate detail, recounting not just the events of 9/11, but also the years of partnership that had led up to that fateful day. In his book, Michael wrote about the profound emotional bond they had shared, a bond that had been forged through years of working together and had ultimately saved both of their lives. Through his words, Michael immortalized Roselle's courage and loyalty, ensuring that her story would continue to inspire others for generations to come. Their bond and the recognition that followed also opened doors for greater awareness of the vital work performed by guide dogs and service animals in general. Michael and Roselle's story became part of a larger movement to raise awareness about the importance of guide dogs in the lives of those with disabilities. It emphasized the unique, often life-saving role that service dogs play, not just as helpers, but as true partners in navigating life's challenges. This story also inspired people with disabilities to forge deeper connections with their own service animals, recognizing the profound emotional support and guidance these animals can offer in even the most challenging situations. Even after Roselle's passing, Michael remained active in advocating for guide dogs and their vital roles in society. He continued to speak at events, raise awareness for organizations that train service dogs, and share the lessons he had learned through his bond with Roselle. The recognition they received after 9/11 helped to shine a light on the incredible dedication and courage of guide dogs around the world. Roselle's memory lived on as a symbol of unwavering loyalty, bravery, and the powerful bond that can exist between a dog and a human. Michael would go on to adopt another guide dog, a yellow Labrador named Africa, with whom he continued his work as a public speaker and advocate for service animals. But no matter where life took him, Roselle would always hold a special place in his heart. She had been more than just a guide dog. She had been his partner, his protector, and his friend. Together they had survived the unimaginable, and their bond remained a source of inspiration to countless people who learned of their story. But what if Roselle's calm, courage, and loyalty on September 11, 2001 had not only saved Michael's life, They had left an indelible mark on the world, reminding everyone of the profound emotional connection that can exist between humans and animals. Their lifelong bond would continue to inspire people for years to come, reminding us all of the extraordinary power of love, trust, and devotion.